understand dipole, electric potential due to dipole. Okay, so here we see a short dipole, electric dipole. See here negative charge and here positive charge. Both of these charges are separated. They are opposite charges. They are separated by a distance, 2d distance, right? They are separated by 2d distance. And we are going to find out what will be the electric potential due to this dipole at point P, which is at r distance apart, that is r distance away from the electric dipole. So to understand the r distance away from electric dipole, we have used this r, and we have taken the distance from the midpoint of the dipole. Why we have taken the distance from the midpoint of the dipole? Because it is a short dipole, so this midpoint will be the best fitted for this, so that we can say this point P is r distance away from that dipole. Now we are going to understand what will be the potential at point P. So come, let us understand. So first we can say, let we say V1. V1 means electric potential due to this negative charge. So due to this negative charge, what will be the electric potential at that point? So due to this negative charge, electric potential will be minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, this q, due to this q, so that's why I have already put this minus, by this distance is taken as r1, and V2 be the potential due to that positive charge, so this will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r2. So total potential, as it is scalar quantity, it can be added. The total potential will always be equal to the algebraic sum, you know. Yes, I am going to explain you that later. So for that we can say 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r2 minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r1. We can say like this. So from here, if we take q 4 pi epsilon naught common, what we get? We get r1 minus r2 by r1, r1 minus r2 by r1. Now here we have to do some consideration. Just understand this. If I say 3.1 into 2.9, what it comes out? Just multiply and find out. It comes to be 8.99 something. And what is 3 into 3? This comes out to be 9. This comes out to be 9. So these two values are very close to each other. See, this is R. This is R2 and this is R1. This from this point, this is R1, and from this point, this is R2. Why I have drawn this dotted line, I will explain you. This is R1, this is R2. So R1 is a bit more than R, and R2 is bit less than R. Alright. So they are very close. This is a short dipole. You are seeing this is a quite big distance as 2D, but actually it is not. It's a very short dipole. So for short dipole, we can say for short dipole, R1, R2 can be written as R square. We can say like this, and this part can be said as R1 minus R2. Why R1 minus R2? If this part is R2, and if I consider till this part also as R2, if I consider this part as also as R2, because just consider this to be an isosceles triangle, then this part also becomes R2, so only this part becomes R1 minus R2, right? So what can we say about R1 minus R2? We can say R1 minus R2 can also be said as 2D, can be also written as 2D cos theta. Why? It can be written as 2D cos theta. If this is theta, this will also be equals to theta, near about, very near about. So ultimately, if this is 2D, this R1 minus R2, we can say this as 2D cos theta, as this has been considered as 90 degree, So if this is the case, what we can say, this is 2d cos theta we can write over here. So in this place we can say 4 pi epsilon naught r1 minus r2 we can write as 2d cos theta and r1 r2 as r square. So ultimately what we get, just write down this part, I have to rub so that I can write. So ultimately we can write V is equals to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, Q into 2D, this becomes P. P means electric dipole moment. P cos theta by R. I can also write this one as P dot R by R cube. K P dot R by R cube. Sorry, this will be R cube. I can also write it like this, K P dot R by R cube. So if I write it like this, what it becomes? So this becomes V is equals to P cos theta by 4 pi epsilon R or K P dot R by R cube. See, P dot R means this is a scalar product. So ultimately scalar product means we are going to get scalar value. So potential is a scalar quantity. So this is correct also. Now this formula becomes very important and very useful to find different cases for different angle. That is, different angle means at different point. If I consider another point for different angles, it is making the with the dipole, then what will be the condition, what will be the electric potential at that point? I'll going to explain you that. So before that, just try to understand this part. How I have considered this part. How can I say R1 into R2 is equals to R square? I just gave you the example, that is 2.9 into 3.1. It comes near about 9 only. So this is how we can explain the electric potential due to a short electric dipole at any point which is making an angle theta with the dipole moment. That point, that is the position vector of that point from the electric dipole. This is clear? So now, if there are two categories, there are two categories that may come in your exam. They are, if what will be the electric dipole at an axial point and equatorial point. Axial point and equatorial. This was a generalized way, right? Generalized formula I have found out over here. So for equatorial and axial point, if this is Q and this is minus Q and this is plus Q, if you have to find out what will be the electric potential at that point, that means this is the dipole moment in this direction P, and this is the position vector R, position of P from this dipole. So they are making 90 degree. So if they are making 90 degree, then what will be electric potential? P cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught R. So cos theta equals to 90, theta is 90, then cos 90 will be, cos 90 will be 0. So this comes out to be 0. Now again, if you have been asked, this is minus Q and there is plus Q and there is a point P over here, then what will be the dipole? So R is from here, R is in this direction, so theta over here is 0 degree. So dipole moment here will be P cos theta. Here I have already written the formula. So cos 0 equals to 1. So here it comes out to be P by 4 pi epsilon naught R. This is very easy. So for different angle, you can find out using this formula. This is the generalized formula. So this becomes very helpful to find out these problems. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Electric dipole total potential at a point with different charge can be written as the algebraic sum. Algebraic sum means, suppose this is point P, here is Q1, here is Q2, here is Q3. All they are R1, R2 distance, R3 distance. Therefore the total potential can be written as KQ1 by R1 plus KQ2 by R2 plus KQ3 by R3. We can write like this. Okay. So this is clear to everyone. So for n number of charges, so this can be written as Qn plus dot 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 plus K Qn by Rn. For n number of charges, we can say this will be K summation Qi by Ri. This is the potential. Clear? So is this clear to everyone? How can we write the potential for a system of charges at a point? Okay. Now we are going to understand our next topic. Okay. This topic is very important and you have to pay attention because a very important concept lies in this topic. Suppose at a portion in any space there is electric field in this direction. So electric field is in this direction, and here is a test charge Q0. Here is a test charge Q0. So electric field this is. So as a result, this is going to experience a force, right? This is going to experience a force. So if the electrostatic force moves this Q into a small distance dx through a small distance dx, if the electrostatic force moves this Q0 through small distance dx, then what will be the condition? For that we can say work done by electrostatic force can be said as W is equals to Q0 into E dot dx. This is the work done. Now again, from the potential we know a formula. W is equals to V is equals to W by Q, right? We know a formula. We know just in this previous class previously I have explained you W V is equals to Q by W, we can say. So W can be is equals written as VQ, or I will say over here this is not W, actually this will be dW. Okay, so here also dW. dW means very small amount of work, very small amount of work. So dV is equals to dW by Q. I can say like this because we have just found out the formula, that is V is equals to W by Q today only. But here who is doing the work? The work is done by the electrostatic force only, not by an external agent. So as the work is done by the electrostatic force only, so here this work will be negative. This work will be negative. So as a result, dW is going, we are going to get Q into minus Q into dV, right? This is the work done by electrostatic force only. You have no external force is there to do the work, right? So I have just explained you over there. So if I equate these two equation, what I can say, Q0 E dx is equals to minus Q, this will be also Q0 dV. So ultimately Q0 cancels out. So E becomes minus dV by dx. So this is the relation between electric field and electric potential. E is equals to minus dV by dx. Now as I have considered this as one dimension, that is in the x direction, I have put over here as dx, but in radial format, that means in any direction if you take, in any direction we consider it as r. So for that we can say electric field is equals to minus dV by dr. So this is the concept. So the main concept lies over here is that just I would like to write it down in your copy, this whole thing. The main concept that lies over here, just try and understand. It says that electric field, so from this equation what we can infer? We can infer that the electric field is equals to minus dV by dr. That means electric field exists when there is a negative potential gradient. So we have to understand this. What is a negative potential gradient? So let us understand it like this, that when you are moving at a certain distance, when you are moving at a certain direction, with certain movement of your displacement or a certain movement of distance, the potential, the electric potential, it decreases. The electric potential decreases. There is a change in electric potential and it decreases. Only in that direction only the electric field is directed. In any direction where the electric potential is decreasing, in that direction only electric field exists. So see here, dV by dr, electric field exists in that direction only where we can see this electric potential decreases. So this is clear. But if you move a certain distance or in a certain direction where no amount of electric potential is changing, then what we can say? If no amount of electric potential changes, that means there is no change in potential with the change in displacement, then at that direction no amount of electric field will be changed. So electric field will be zero in that direction. Okay, so this is a very important topic. I am just trying to let you understand this. Just write it over here. So we can say, just what I am saying, just write it in your copy. So electric field exists in a direction of negative potential gradient. Clear? This part is clear to everyone? So let us skip to our next topic. Okay, so here we have equipotential surface. What is it, equipotential surface? It says any surface that has same electric potential at every point on it is called equipotential surface. What does this mean? See, at any surface that has same potential. Suppose, just understand this. This is if I keep a sphere, a plastic sphere, okay, plastic sphere or whatever, a plastic sphere I have kept, hollow, this is hollow, and at the center I have kept a positive charge, and at the center I have kept a positive charge. Okay, so what will be the electric potential at this point on the surface? If this is the radius, the potential will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dot q by r, right? This will be potential at the surface. There is no need to think about any direction because potential is scalar quantity. Now, if I say what will be the potential at this point, this is also r distance away, as is the radius. At this point, this is also r distance away. This is the radius. This r remains the same. So for this whole surface, wherever you go, wherever you place, wherever you point out, the potential remains same. The electric potential remains same. So if electric potential remains same, then this surface can be considered as equipotential surface. That means surface that has same electric potential at every point on that equipotential surface. Now imagine, now try to imagine, this I have already told you as a sphere. So if you imagine a surface like this, another concentric spherical surface to this surface, this also becomes the equipotential surface. That means at any distance the potential will be same. The potential at this surface may not be equal to this surface, should not be equal. The potential in this first surface is not equal to potential to the second surface. But I am talking about if you consider only the second surface. In second surface, throughout the surface, wherever you go, the potential remains same. Similarly, on the first surface also, wherever you go, the potential remains same. So as you move, if you consider another surface like this, another concentric sphere, on this surface also the potential remains same. Potential remains same means the potential at this surface remains same for wherever you go on this surface, this red surface. This is clear. That means if I consider as this potential at this first surface as V1, potential at second surface is V2, potential at third surface is V3. due to R1, R2 and R3, whatever if you consider. This is V1, V2 and V3. But try to understand, in this whole surface, wherever you go, this V1 remains same. This is a equipotential surface. Similarly, in this whole surface, wherever you go, the V2, the potential will be V2 only. That is also equipotential surface wherever you move. And the third surface, V3, this is also an equipotential surface. Wherever you move in the V3 surface, on the V3 sphere, spherical surface, the potential remains same. That means what? This potential remains same in these surfaces. Different values of potential, but the potential of that values remains same throughout that surface. This surface becomes the equipotential surface. So here I have explained you what is equipotential surface. I hope you have got the idea of equipotential surface. So now we are going to understand the properties. It says no work is done in moving a test charge on equipotential surface. No work is done in moving a test charge in equipotential surface. Okay. So suppose this surface, this red one, just understand. If you move from at this point A to this point B, what is the change in electric potential? Change in electric potential, dV becomes 0. As dV becomes 0, okay, let me write it with a blue pen, blue marker, you are going to understand. Then dV will be equal to 0. Then work done will be how much? Work done will be Q naught into dV. Work done, if you move your test charge, work done will be Q naught, dW will be Q naught into dV. As dV is 0, no work is done. As dV is 0, no work is done. Why no work is done? Because there is no change in electric potential if you move from A to B. Because this is equipotential surface. The potential remains same throughout the surface. So dW is equals to Q into dV, right? So it says no work is done in moving test charge from over an equipotential surface. Similarly, another thing is that electric field is always normal to the equipotential surface. So let us understand this. Electric field is always normal to the equipotential surface. That means what? That means we have just found out E is equals to minus dV by dr, right? So E dot dr is equals to dV, whatever. If at this surface, if you move from A to B, that means your direction is like this. Move from A to B, small distance. You are moving a small distance dr, A to B. That means on moving this, the potential remains same. So dV again becomes 0. So from here, E dot dr equals to 0. What does this mean? This is a scalar product. And when you are going to understand the scalar product, you will be able to understand this. E dot dr equals to 0. That means what? E is perpendicular to R. Then only E dot dr can be equals to 0. So here dr is in this direction. So E must be in this direction. Are you understanding this part? So here we can say electric field is always normal to equipotential surface. Another thing is that no two equipotential surface can intersect. Yes, no two equipotential surface can intersect. How? How can the two equipotential surface intersect? If these two surface intersects, then what? Suppose these two surface intersects like this. Yes, just let me make you clear this part. Just understand, if these two surface intersects at this point, what can you say? What is the electric potential on this surface? Can you say as V2 or can you say as V3? You are in a dilemma. You cannot say whether it is V2 or whether it is V3. So ultimately, this cannot be possible. There has to be as one value only of electric potential. So this cannot be possible only. So that is why no two equipotential surface can intersect. Okay, so I think you have got the idea of equipotential surface. Just try to understand, and if you have any problem regarding this, please write me in the comment section. Okay, so let us proceed to our next topic. So this is our next topic, electric potential energy of dipole in a uniform electric field. So let us understand this. So this is, we find an electric dipole. If you don't have any idea of what electric dipole is, please go and place this link given here. You are going to get the detailed information of electric dipole. Now we all know that if a dipole is placed in electric field, it is going to experience a torque such that this electric field is going to align this dipole to its direction. So here electric field is given as E. So this is the force, we all know that. So torque experienced by dipole is PE sin theta. This is all we know. From the previous chapter, it is clear to everyone. This is PE sin theta. Now here, if we are trying to rotate this dipole in anti-clockwise direction, then what will happen? This electric field will again try to align this dipole in its direction. So you have to do some amount of work to align this dipole, or to move this dipole in anti-clockwise direction. So suppose to move the dipole anti-clockwise direction for this scenario by angle d theta, then work dw will be tau d theta. Okay, so here we can say PE sin theta d theta. So total work W is equals to will be integration of PE sin theta d theta. So if you rotate the dipole from theta, from initial angle theta 1 to final angle theta 2, that is initial inclination let us consider as theta 1 and final inclination let us consider as theta 2, then if you try to rotate the dipole from theta 1 to theta 2, what you are going to get? You are going to get PE, this will be cos theta, this will be minus cos theta, right? Minus cos theta, this will be theta 1, this will be theta 2. So you are going to get as PE cos theta 1 minus theta 2. So this is the work done by an external agent. This is a work done by an external agent to rotate a dipole in an electric field. So work done by external agent is stored as potential energy. Clear? So work done by external agent in rotating a dipole in electric field is stored as potential energy. So if you rotate a dipole over here like this, then what will be the potential energy gained by the dipole? The potential energy will be this one. So work done is stored as potential energy. So I can write over here PE as cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. Since I do not have any space to write this statement, this work done by external agent in rotating a dipole is stored as potential energy, I would like to request you, please write this statement in your copy while you are trying to copying these things from this video. Okay, so this is it. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe this channel. If you like this video, please go and press the thumbs up over there, and don't forget to press the bell icon, because then only you are going to understand if I upload a video, you are going to get that information. Okay, thank you for today.